morning. I'm meteorologist Chris Warren.
And I'm meteorologist Allison Chinchar. It is Monday, February 22nd. Chris, we're also keeping a close eye on what could become our next named winter storm. Plus, you would assume, that bad weather is going to move into a more favorable environment, and so thus the severe threat continues, and that's what we're going to see. Here's a look. We've got the upper level disturbance, a very deep trough set up with the jet stream, but we also have a lot of moisture that's going to be pulled up from the Gulf and warm temperatures. It's been very warm temperature-wise for a lot of the states that are along the Gulf for weeks now. Again, we've also got that low-level jet, so all of the necessary ingredients are setting up, not just today, but as we go forward as well. So here's a look at the timing. We start off early tomorrow morning. You can see some of the biggest threat remains into Texas still. But then as we go through the later morning, once we get to around rush hour, cities like Shreveport and Houston start to get into the mix. Then by your evening rush, we're talking Memphis, Little Rock, down towards Jackson, Mississippi. Then we transition into Wednesday, and now it starts to move more into the southeastern area. So here's a look at tomorrow. Alexandria, Houston, New Orleans, even around Mobile. That's where the biggest severe weather threat is going to be. The severe ingredients, once we go Wednesday, again, it begins to shift more along the Atlantic side and more of a focus into Florida. Again, we still have that warm, moist flow bringing up a lot of the necessary ingredients for the severe weather. So let's take a look at the timing here. Now you've got, again, starts early Wednesday morning for cities like Nashville, Knoxville, down towards Atlanta, and then begins to push over towards cities like Charlotte, Raleigh, and eventually over towards Jacksonville. So again, Chris, this is going to be not just a one-day, but a multi-day event we're going to have to keep. We're also keeping an eye on the recovery in Fiji after the largest cyclone to ever hit the country made landfall over the weekend. The Category 5 equivalent storm struck with sustained winds of 185 miles per hour. Again, absolutely incredible wind speeds with this. Tropical Cyclone Winston is being blamed for at least 21 deaths, but officials say tourists are safe and accounted for. That includes country music star Daryl Worley. He was in Fiji for a concert just before this storm hit. Crews are working across the island nation to restore power as quickly as they can. Internet and cell phone coverage, again, they're trying to restore all of those as quickly as possible. And as we continue to go, again, we're talking about some of the damage that's been coming in. We know a lot of these areas, the island of Coro, Chris, for one, they lost all communications. Every tower, every cell phone tower, every kind of communications that they had, they lost everyone. A little bit more specifics on the severe weather threat for the next couple of days. We start off with tonight. Mostly for today and tonight, it's going to be limited to around Texas. We're talking San Angelo, San Antonio, down towards Laredo, Texas. And then the threat begins to make its way a little farther east as we head into tomorrow. Now we're talking about cities like New Orleans, Houston, up around Alexandria, Louisiana, and Jackson. And then as far east, say, as maybe around the Mobile, Alabama. And yes, the possibility for some isolated tornadoes. We're looking at a torcon of around 3 for the southeastern portion of Texas. But then as we push a little farther east, we've got some better conditions, better ingredients. So now we're talking a 5 for portions of southern Louisiana, a 4 for southern Mississippi, and also into southern Alabama. Then once we get to Wednesday, now it shifts over towards the Atlantic side. We're talking cities like Raleigh, Columbia, Charleston, and Jacksonville now under the gun for some potential severe weather. The good news is torcon's not nearly as high. We're talking about a 4 in the eastern Carolinas and then about a 3 down in eastern Virginia. But again, Chris, we've talked about this before. It only takes 1. So it doesn't matter if your number is, say, a 2, a 3, or even all the way up to a 5. You just need 1 to end up causing some damage.
And it seems like storm after storm, when we talk about severe weather this year,